Your job was to source food.
But the anime was on sale.
Well, how did you pay for it?
Well, I left a couple of cans of tuna and an old bread roll on the counter. Oh, hey guys, when you think post-apocalyptic anime, there's a fair few titles to choose from. Now, if you want a TV series, I reckon take a look at a title called Ergo Proxy. But if you want something a little less known, take a look at Now and Then, Here and There.
Yeah, okay, you're stalling now, enough. I can tell you're excited about this.
She's right, I am. I couldn't go past one of the most influential animes of all time. Akira. In 1988, an explosion destroys Tokyo, which instigates World War III. 31 years later, Neo-Tokyo is in a state of military rule against revolutionary forces who fight for economic and political change. Amidst the unfolding upheaval, two rival motorcycle gangs go head-to-head on the street. One of the gang members, Tetsuo, has a near collision with an escaped secret military experiment called an Esper. Tetsuo is abducted and taken to hospital, where the military begins testing him as an Esper. His abilities develop quickly, and he breaks out of captivity in search for the omnipotent and imprisoned Esper named Akira. However, Tetsuo's power proves to be so volatile that everyone joins forces to prevent him from destroying the world.
It's awesome. It's such an iconic film, and it's been such a great influence on a lot of sci-fi films.
Yeah, and it's based on a manga of the same name by Katsuhiro Otomo, but the manga spans over a larger time frame. Now, Otomo only agreed to the adaptation providing that he retained creative control. So, the story, the film, though condensed, hasn't suffered.
It looks fantastic, even by today's standards.
Absolutely. Well, they did throw nearly $500,000 at it in 1988. And they also revolutionized the animation process by pre-recording dialogue and then animating the mouths around that muscularity. They also animated body and facial movement at the same time as the dialogue to create a greater fluidity and reality. And the final cut contains over 160,000 animation cells.
The art direction is superb.
Oh, without a doubt. It's an amazing anime, and the art is incredibly realised. It's visceral, and the film also marks Otomo's transition into working almost exclusively in anime for TV and film.
Cool. So what about the characters?
I love that Kaneda is a rebel-like anti-hero, and also how part of me wants to help Tetsuo despite his destructive actions. Even Kaneda's love interest, Kei, commits questionable acts. Those of the military and the politicians too all seem to have some sort of moral code, even if their interests are corrupt or selfish. So the characters are three-dimensional, each with faults and flaws and redeeming qualities. And there's a sense of cool about the characters as well, because it has a cyberpunk tone to it. I always found it interesting that the poster child is Kaneda, and yet we follow the story of Tetsuo and his growth, but the film is called Akira. Anyway, what did you think about the story, Sonya?
Oh, it's solid, even though it's not conventional. And it certainly doesn't spoon feed you, so thinking caps on, people. The clues are kind of released in snippets, and they're not necessarily in linear succession.
No, in that sense, it's kind of impressionistic, you could say. Which is something I love about the film. The story doesn't necessarily provide answers, but proposes questions about the role of humanity and the use of power. I remember having to watch it a couple of times when I was young to grasp the huge ideas present in the film, but after watching it again, some of it still remains ambiguous. That said, I think that today's audience are better equipped to deal with the structure and the content, given that they've been more exposed to unconventional storytelling techniques and concepts that weren't so prevalent 15 or so years ago.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Akira yet, then you really must. It's a cornerstone in the anime kingdom and a really fine film in its own right. I'm definitely giving it a buy.
Well said, yeah, and I think you'll also get a kick out of the soundtrack because there's an awesome injection of these wonderful soundscapes and sound effects, and there's a couple of tracks that blend this tribal chanting with these ethereal harmonies. It sounds awesome, so I'm giving it a buy as well.
Awesome. Now that that's done, can we go and get our food back?
We can't. There's no refunds on sale items.
How did you survive?
Survive what?
Don't go outside, Ray.
Survive what?
It's fine. Everything is fine.